Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is us again, the Lords of the Round Table, the SEO Round Table. I'm Chris, and this is Nick. And yeah, welcome back to another live stream. Oop, not sure where I hear that from. There. Okay. Yeah, so my camera is a little bit weird today. My camera thinks that my green screen is blue for some reason, and so it's desaturating me when I get it to work. So I know I look a little bit funky, but we'll just deal with it. Today, Nick's camera actually looks a lot better than mine, so that's cool.
It's kind of weird because usually I'm pretty washed out
Yeah,
and
what?
I didn't change anything
Why do you
either.
look normal now?
So maybe I got a tan while in Alaska or something. That's literally the only variable I can think of that would be different is I'm a different color right now.
That's so weird,
Um,
because yeah, your camera looks great, and mine looks horrible for whatever reason.
yeah, it's pretty strange because everything is exactly the same in here. Um, Now, if there's anybody watching right now, I know we just started. I'm looking on Facebook and I'm seeing that we're frozen,
Looks
and
fine to me.
lagging quite a bit. Yeah, okay.
I think so, yeah.
Let me see here. Yeah, okay.
But yeah, my
Okay.
internet's been kind of a little bit weird here lately, so hopefully my new Airbnb will not have the same issues, but we'll see. I'll be moving in there on
Oh, do you
Saturday.
switch? Nice.
Yeah, so how was your trip in Alaska, man?
It was good. I hadn't roughed it in quite some time, so I definitely don't feel acclimated to that lifestyle anymore. But it was interesting. We went and visited some buddies that homestead out there, meaning they live in a very remote part of Alaska. Actually, there's only like 20, 25 people that inhabit this place. You've got to get out there. You've got to cross a railroad bridge, which is the only way in and out of town. So if they want to get some like materials or supplies over there, large stuff, they
Mm-hmm.
have to wait till everything's frozen to drive across the river that's under that train track.
Cool
So
stuff.
pretty cool. And then we road tripped back from there all the way to Homer, Alaska, which is like a coastal town. But yeah, pretty neat, pretty neat. Overall, good trip.
I'm guessing it was probably a lot easier this time without the motorcycle trip.
Definitely. I did not miss the motorcycle at all. We had a van that we were cruising in that had a bed in the back of it, so it was still backpacker lifestyle. Um, but yeah, that's a much more comfy way to kind of camp around for sure.
That sounds
Still,
about
still
right.
roughing it, but it was good. Yeah.
Nice.
How are you feeling over there in Turkey for
Oh,
things?
Turkey's good. The weather's starting to get a lot nicer. I think the high today was like 75.
Nice.
Um, yeah, getting cool at night, and yeah, it's just a nice place. I think the people are a little bit rude in Istanbul, but it
Really?
might just, I mean, not like rude. It's just like, well, I think like the area I'm in is like heavily touristed, and I think they
Mm,
just kind of don't care.
over it?
Yeah, they're over it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That'll happen.
but yeah, I mean, not like so. Yeah, I think it might just be this like area. Like I visited my friend's city in Bursa, and they're a lot nicer. So it might just be the people in Istanbul or whatever. Who knows?
Mm,
But I think a lot of it probably just has to do with the area. But
yeah.
other than that, it's nice here. Everything's cheap, the food's good. Yeah.
Yeah, your food picks, I'm pretty jealous of all that, especially when considering, anywhere in the States really, arm and a leg to get. I bought it, I showed you, I bought a gyro the other day and it's like, you know, six times whatever you pay for something that's, at least two times, three times as good out there.
Yeah, I found this one place that's real close to here. I can't remember what it's called actually, but I eat there pretty often, and I think it cost about $3, and it's like it's kind of like a not a cafeteria. I mean, it's small, it's set up kind of, and they've got like 20 different things, and you go in there and you pick which 5 you want, but they're just cooking it like right there. Like the kitchen isn't the same as
Nice.
the dining room or whatever. And it just tastes
Yeah.
like it doesn't taste like restaurant food. It tastes like a home cooked meal. So you have like 20 home cooked meal options, and you just like pick 5 of them, and they just throw it on a plate right there, and you eat for $3. Um, yeah, it's just crazy. Just like the
I'm
level.
fucking starving right now just hearing about it, quite honestly.
Yeah.
It's morning time over here.
So
All I've
today I
done is
had
drank
like
some pre-workout.
couscous with like some meatballs and like they give you like a stack of
Damn,
like fresh bread, thick fresh bread. What else was on there?
carbo loading.
Some kind of vegetables. I don't even really know what they were. Some kind of pea type things. I don't even know.
Mm,
Yeah, good stuff.
sounds
Um,
tasty.
yeah, so a little bit different nomadic adventures going on at the moment.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with the stream.
Yeah, I'm getting some. I mean, I keep watching it and I'm getting it loading here and there. So again, if anybody's watching and having issues, just let us know.
Yeah, I think it might be a combination. I think it might just be the internet being bad right here.
Mm,
But we'll try our best. It's getting the video recording
yeah.
anyway, and we'll iron out any kinks we have down the road, and hopefully my new place, the internet isn't as shoddy. But yeah, it's really been this past, within this past week, within the past 1 week, or even if the past like 3 or 4 days, really, the internet has been noticeably worse, and I'm not really sure what's going on with that. Um, but yeah, I'll be out here in a few days anyway,
Hmm.
so I guess we'll just go ahead and get to it. And if people don't join this one because it's laggy and horrible, then yeah, we'll hopefully better know it next time.
Yeah,
All
we're
right,
doing our best, everybody. We're doing our best.
let me see. I think you had sent me some questions, and I've got some here too.
Yeah, I sent some. I was thinking maybe we can just start with the helpful content update question, just because I think we
Well, I've
can kind of,
got some other stuff as well.
okay.
Oh man, that's. Can you hear that dog barking? By the way, it's really annoying.
I did a little bit, but it's not anything that's like getting in the way of me hearing you.
Don't know what's going on with that either. There's normally not like some crazy ass dog barking for like an hour outside, and today there is for whatever reason. So don't
It's
really.
because we're on our stream,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know?
Don't really
That's
know what I
why.
can do about it.
Murphy's Law, if something can go wrong, it will.
Nice. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah, let's go ahead and just get started. So this one that came in a private message. I'll have to delete some of this, but it says first paragraph or says I'm creating a website in the recipe niche, and my main goal is to get the 3 product pages ranked #1 on Google. I place contextual links to these pages in the first paragraph on the home page. There's linking contextually from its home page to its 3 product pages. I have also created contextual links from the home page to every recipe, a total of 15 recipes so far. My question is, should I keep all those links from the homepage directly to the recipes, diluting the homepage link equity, or should I link from the homepage directly to the main recipe page, and from that page, let me delete some of this. Or should I link from the homepage directly to the main recipe page, and from that page link to all the recipes? Because basically asking, should he link to only his 3 main product pages from the homepage, or should he link to some of his recipe pages too as well? And those also link to
Right.
his to the product pages. And I kind of answered him in private message already, but what I said is it honestly doesn't matter. And I'd actually probably lean towards more putting them all on the homepage. When you look at a bunch of sites' homepages, it's super common for them to have like, when you're talking about these like big news websites, they can have like 100 or more even articles on
Yeah.
their homepage that they're linking to. They could have like a trending section, a popular section, iPhone, if it's a tech website, they could have like a new phone news section, and each one could have like 10 articles on the homepage in it. it kind of sounds a little bit weird as well that you're linking to all these things contextually on the homepage. You definitely could do it. I'm a little bit curious what exactly it looks like. Because normally
I'm
when
picturing
people,
a PBN looking thing.
yeah, you're thinking about like because
You know?
normally on a homepage, there's the content on the homepage is usually kind of thin, and it's usually like, oh, here's our articles, here's some other stuff we do. It's just kind of like it's not really these huge paragraphs of information linking out to stuff. Um, but I'm not saying you can't do that, and actually, it's probably better to link contextually if you can. I just don't know really what that's going to look like for the website and what it would be as far as like user experience. Like, are users going to like coming to your website and having these huge walls of text with contextual links they have to go through to find your products, or would it make more sense to have like real big pictures of the products with links to the pages and that kind of thing rather than them having to go in a paragraph of information and read it to find whatever. But that's neither here nor there. I'm leaning towards you just put it all on the homepage. Put all your important stuff on the homepage. You can do the recipe links and the product pages, and then maybe just have the product pages more like front and center. So when they land on your website, just make those the big important things real easy for them to see and get to. Some nice pictures and whatnot. Yeah. Anything to add on that, Nick?
Yeah, a couple things. I see people talk about link equity a whole lot, or link juice, or losing link power, etc. When you're considering interlinking, what I think is most important is that you just consider that what you're doing is helping crawlers get through your site. Seeing that there's connectivity between things and, that they're all fairly important for whatever reason. Your site sounds like it's fairly new, and you've basically got what sounds like two kind of hub niches within there, right? Recipes, and then the other one.
It's a recipe site, but he's got like 3 products he's selling
Oh yeah, and
essentially.
products, right? So I guess just speaking from what I like to do, because the idea is you're going to build this out over time, right? I always use the homepage as a sort of hub in the sense that I like to use posts. So posts under specific categories, right? And then within my homepage, I'm going to showcase in different sections that I've got these different categories, right? And then with a highlight reel of maybe the first 3 to 5 articles ongoing. And then as the crawlers go to those pages, I'm going to have internal links spread out going all over the place contextually within those articles as well. Therefore increasing the crawlability. Because you didn't talk about that either. Like is this how you're doing your internal linking, where you're kind of siloing and keeping things very separate, which Chris and I have talked about before. It's not our preferred method. What we do is if there
Well,
is a
kind of.
place that it makes sense,
Yeah. But
you
but
do?
when you're linking to things that make sense to link, you kind of end up setting up these kind of natural silos in a way. Like they're not strict, like you could link out to some other stuff
M-
as well, but it,
Meaning recipes would still link out to products,
yeah, he's
right?
he's
If I've
linking
got a
to his products from
recipe
his recipe.
and whisking, right? Okay. So like there's not a contained silo between recipes and products, right? Like they
Yeah.
would interlink to each other,
hmm
right? So that's more so what I'm
He might
talking
have
about
like
versus keeping the categories like
he
still,
might have like
which I
recipe
think is what people
silos,
talk
like
about a
like
lot,
chicken or
right?
whatever Indian food. I don't know what his site is, but um,
Right.
yeah. But yeah, we're not like strict
Yeah.
siloers. It would just kind of make sense for uh, if it makes sense to the user or to the user of your website, then we think it makes sense to do for SEO.
Yeah. And now, mind you, consider the fact that there are tons of large websites that do operate the way that you're talking about, where, they've got snippets at least, if not the full contextual post on the homepage. And within those snippets, you might find inner links or outbound links as well. Business Insider is a huge one. What is it? It's essentially a giant blog roll, right? So there are contextual backlinks that, exist there as well. So it's not to say that you can't do it. But my preferred method, and this is how I design every money site that I've got, is going to be more of a showcase of the main categories.
Yeah.
And typically I've got it automated so that every time a new post goes up, that's the first one that's going to show there on the homepage
Yeah.
under that category section, right?
hmm Yeah. Um, I think that's what a lot of people do. They have kind of like their like newest stuff, and then they have usually you'll see a lot of like towards the top they'll have like our most popular articles or like hot right now articles, and then they
Mm-hmm.
might have a link to like our big category pages, and then they might even like actually have the top three or top six articles from each category on the homepage as well. You can really just
Mm-hmm.
keep going with it, really. But yeah, I wouldn't really worry about diluting homepage link equity too much. It's more like
No.
it's your homepage, and the crawler is when Google's bots lands on your homepage, they're gonna instantly be able to crawl to all these important articles from your homepage real easily. So I really wouldn't look at it kind of like from a link equity standpoint, like Nick was saying. It's more just like, is it helping Google reach your most important stuff? And if the answer is yeah, then
Yeah.
it's probably good for those things.
Yeah, exactly. I think, the only place to really consider link equity is when you're purchasing
Like
backlinks
outbound,
or
yeah, outbound
trending.
links, like backlinks.
Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
wouldn't think about it as far as interpage linking really. Um,
Yeah.
I think we're good on that. You got anything else?
No, I think that's about it.
All right.
Hope it helps. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe before we get too far in the show and we haven't said it once. If you like the show, like, comment, subscribe. Join us in SEO Roundtable on Facebook, where we're most active every week.
Hey, Nikhil, and hey, MST.
Hello.
MST, Nick, do you know much about? I mean, we can't really give these. You can't really give you a WooCommerce SEO tutorial. If you want a WooCommerce SEO tutorial, I would just Google it on YouTube. Really,
YouTube it.
that's kind
Yeah.
of outside the scope of
Google
what
it
we
on
can do
YouTube.
live. Um,
Google for, yeah, that's funny.
yeah, if you need like an in-depth tutorial, where we
Because,
can't really do that on the live stream
yeah,
of like a tool or a product or any kind of like platform or whatever.
no. Yeah,
Um,
you're just gonna have to go study. But the cool thing is, for anything like WooCommerce, I mean, whatever you want is readily available on YouTube
Yeah,
or
yeah.
on
These are, it's a
Google.
huge thing.
It's
You
got
can you
everything.
can really easily find some stuff. I would just look for the most popular ones, really.
Hmm.
Um, let's see. All right, so let's look at this question. If I want to rank plumber in Dallas keyword, how do you think using the keyword multiple times would help? Like how to choose the right plumber in Dallas, benefits of hiring qualified plumber in Dallas. Um, So it sounds to me like you need to, well, I guess there's kind of two parts to this. First, you need to do your keyword research and find out basically what keywords Google is allowing pages that are ranking number one for plumber in Dallas. So plumber in Dallas is basically like the main keyword, right? Or let's say it's the main keyword. So plumber in Dallas is your main keyword. You need to go look at those sites and you pull them up in a tool like Ahrefs or whatever and look at the other keywords that Google is allowing that page to rank for. And that will let you know these are the ones I should try to rank on that page. You don't have to like guess or anything. There's no kind of like science to it. You literally just go look in a tool at what Google is allowing the pages to rank for, and you're going to try to rank for all of those. And the way you rank for them is by including them in your content somehow. And for the second part of your question, you said, do you think using the keyword multiple times would help? Using the keyword multiple times can help, but you need to be careful here. You don't want to get into what we call keyword stuffing, which is where you put the keyword, just a crazy amount of times in the content. It's kind of a very old SEO practice, and if you do that now, Google sees it as real like spammy and natural, and they don't like it at all, and they, won't reward you for it. So, when we're doing content, we like to use a tool like Surfer SEO. Surfer, it's a paid tool. We're not affiliated with anyway. It's just a real popular tool that pretty much everyone uses these days. And it'll tell you basically how many times it'll take like the top like 5 sites or whatever, and it'll do like an average of how many times, how long their content is, and based on how long the content is, how many times they've used that keyword, and it should tell you how many times you should have it in your content at whatever length you're writing. So Surfer is a good way to do that. If you're not using Surfer, you could also just go look at the content on the top 5 pages and you could, literally just search for and see how many times they included the keyword in there, and then see what their content length is, and then have a similar ratio in yours. But yeah, Surfer just makes it so much easier. It would just take so much more time without a tool like Surfer, right?
Mm.
But yeah, so yeah, you're including your important keywords in your content. You're also putting them in important places like your inner page URL, or the title tag, or your meta description, or your H1s, your H2 tags, your H3s, whatever. Basically just kind of working it in naturally without seeming too spammy in all of these places, right? But yeah, I really couldn't recommend using a tool like Surfer enough, especially if you're kind of newer. And if your site doesn't have any traffic yet, if it's not getting many impressions, Surfer actually has a free tier, but your site has to like really be getting like no traffic. But if that's you, you can go use Surfer for free actually until it starts getting a certain amount of impressions on Google. You got anything to add on that one, Nick?
Yeah, so something else to be careful for, which I think maybe dived into a little bit, but just to stress it, is keyword cannibalization, which Surfer can also help with if you're doing keyword research. It'll tell you where there's overlap between these certain questions that you're asking, and whether there's specific money sites ranking for both of these questions, which would mean you need one article to target both of these questions versus, if you're just conceptualizing an idea of what questions Google might want to ask, you're risking maybe creating articles that have too much overlap, and then you're confusing Google in what it wants to see for any particular SERP, if that makes sense. But Surfer is definitely a great tool to do that, because they show the amount of percentage of overlap within certain SERPs, in the sense of what money site or what money article is ranking within both of those or multiple of those SERPs. Something else I think that's worth talking about here is then how do you use that specifically? Like Chris said, you don't want to overdo how much you use a specific keyword, phrase, etc. But what you need to understand is that the primary thing that Google's looking at as far as what you can manipulate to tell Google what your site is about is your URL, right? So quite honestly, I love exact or partial match domains specifically to go after, especially like local targets. You can do Plumber Dallas, John's Plumbing Dallas, any number of things, .com, .net, whatever, which, specifically tells Google this is what this is about. And then within there, right after that, you've got your H1, so your title tag, which you'd want to use synonyms or variations of what you're trying to go after. So let's say I'm John's Plumbing, Texas, or Dallas.com. Then my H1 tag might be the best plumbers in Dallas, right? So a variation of the exact same thing. And you can do that more so than just keep repeating the same keyword, expecting, Google's very intuitive. It understands that there's an umbrella of these keywords that kind of go together. And you can use that to your advantage as well. So, you want to think about that as well, because like Chris said, using the same keyword within the URL, within the H1 tag, within H2 tags, etc., is going to just come off as spammy, and it's not going to, end up as good for you typically.
Funny, you're very small on the screen.
I'm tiny,
Yeah,
huh?
I don't know what's
I
going
wonder if
on
that's
there.
my internet or yours.
It's probably mine.
Hello.
Hopefully it'll just fix itself. But yeah, sorry, the stream's a little low quality. My color is messed up, and Nick is tiny now. Hopefully next week it'll be better, but we're just gonna have to deal with it for right now. But yeah, like Nick was saying, important, watch out for keyword cannibalization. Make sure that the keywords that you're trying to rank a page for, make sure there's other pages that are ranking high for both of them. If they're ranking for like number 1 for one of the keywords and they're on like page like 4 for the other one, you might not want to try to rank for that keyword unless you can find another site that's ranking well for both of them, right? But yeah, anything else to add on that, Nick?
No, I think that's about it.
Cool. Let's see what we got next. Hey Amar, how you doing? says, do you prefer DA or DR for quality backlinks if you need to pick one? We Ahrefs, DR is what we use for everything. We think it's the best judgment of, basically they have the most like link data, I think. Moz was popular back in the day. I think it still is popular in some places, but it's mainly because you can use things like Mozbar for free, I think. A lot of people don't like paying because Ahrefs is expensive, right? I remember when I first got into SEO, I was like, oh my God, I can't pay for that. That's crazy. But yeah, we all of our links are basically priced by DR or RD based on Ahrefs. Like we use Ahrefs for everything for backlinks. But if you want to be like realistic about things, neither one of these scores is perfect for telling you how good a site is. There's a lot more that goes into it. People like these scores because it kind of is a score of that website's backlinks, but there's more to it than just that, and you can manipulate these metrics and whatnot. So we do prefer DR. There's no hiding that. But all I'm trying to say is that there is more to judging the quality of the site rather than these two scores. You got anything else on that one, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, the more data you get, the better, right? So it's good to learn how to use both of them. And then there's specific tools, like if I'm hunting domains that don't, you can't use DR to blanket, let's say looking through a ton of auctions, etc. So you have to understand, how DA can be used properly in that case. Even if we say that, it's not quite as good as DR, it's more manipulatable, etc. It's still good to be able to gauge how that might work and how you might use something like DA to, hypothetical again, if I'm searching for a bunch of domains and I don't have DR available, then I'll sort by DA and then kind of compare what I think the DA should be at. And this is something that you'll just get keen on over a long period of time. Where you'll kind of see, if your DA is extremely high, but there's a insane amount of backlinks going to that particular site, maybe it's an exact match domain or something, it's probably spammed to hell. And if you're really trying to move across a bunch of domains or a large list of stuff, then being able to spot what looks natural within a large amount of data sets, if that's exclusive to DA, backlinks, etc., then it's worthwhile to use both of them. And then there's no reason that you wouldn't use both of them if you've got Ahrefs. If you can afford it. DA, you can use Mozbar for free, right? So getting your eyes on both of those, if not more than that, Majestic, SEMrush, etc., and getting accustomed to using them is going to give you a better viewpoint on the quality of whatever it is you're hunting for.
Yes. Like, comment, and subscribe. Like, comment, and subscribe if you like Nick and his tiny little floating box today.
For the entire time I'm this small, I'm going to be speaking like this, just to confuse people,
Nick is our SEO elf now.
Wish I had some. Yeah, I wish I had the ears.
All right, so this question says, I was checking Kyle Roof's video and he says strict silos are powerful, like supporting pages should link to the target page only and it should be built only to support. Do you think this is powerful? I think that a lot of people have their own ways of doing things. I'm not going to argue with Kyle Roof. He's a very well-respected SEO. If you copied everything that Kyle Roof does, you'll probably be a very successful SEO. But what I will say is that there is a large amount of disagreement on silos. And there's a lot of very big, very successful people who do silos different ways. And what that tells me is that there's no way that you really need to be doing silos. And so my approach to silos specifically is that you should link to things that make sense for the reader. So I kind of just take a user experience point of view on it. And what ends up happening when you take a user experience point of view is that you end up actually having silos where you're, of course you're going to be linking back to your main, if it's supporting content, of course you want to be linking back to your parent page or whatever. But other than that, I link to what the user would find useful, and what the user would usually find useful from an article about a certain subject is more articles about a certain subject. But there might also be an interlink or two going to other articles that aren't as related. They might be technically in different silos, but I don't think it's super duper important, and I know a lot of other SEOs don't either. But some people like swear by this stuff. But yeah, I'm not going to argue with Kyle Roof. I know he's a good SEO, and I'm sure it works just fine. But yeah, I can't really. If you're trying to say like which one is better or whatever, I can't really answer that. I think if you follow any of the big popular ways to do siloing, you're going to be just fine, or interlinking. I forgot where I was going with that, but the fact that you're doing interlinking and you're trying to link related stuff together, like, puts you above so many people. And like, there's so many people who for whatever reason, they skip out on interlinking, and it's so horrible because it's such an easy way to show Google what your site is about, to spread link juice around, to build topical relevance about certain things, and to really map it out and show Google exactly where it all is and everything. So the fact that you're doing it and you're trying to kind of like relate these things together and stuff, I think is honestly enough. But if you're looking for like, is this the most powerful way to do? I have no idea. Yeah, like I said, a lot of people do it very different ways, and these are all very well respected people. So the fact that you're trying to do it is probably good enough. That's my real answer. You have anything to add on that one, Nick?
I mean, just from me personally, I don't silo like that at all, and I don't have any issues ranking, right? So that's all I can say is, I kind of do the opposite of that, where
Yeah.
I'm definitely interlinking between, different categories, etc. And I haven't had any issues. So a lot of times in SEO, kind of like Chris was saying, there's a million different ways to skin the cat, right? And so you kind of pick your preference based on the schools of thought that you learn from, and then you kind of design your own way of doing things. When I was early to SEO, I do remember getting really confused about silos and trying to keep everything really categorized without interlinking between them. And when I stopped doing that, I honestly had more success. So, again, it's not to say that you can't get success the opposite way. But for me personally, it's just not how I do things.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking if I had anything else to add on that, but I don't think I do. I would just to reiterate one more thing. If you're doing supporting content, we always link back to like the main thing from that supporting content, right? That's like probably the strictest thing that I do.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But yeah, it's not even from like a silo standpoint. It's just like, this is the supporting content for this article. This is the one I really want to rank, so I'm definitely linking back to that. So I'm not even really thinking about it like on a silo standpoint. It's more like just what I'm trying to rank standpoint. But yeah, if you follow Kyle Roof's method, I'm sure it's real good. But there's other good ones too. So I don't think anyone's actually really better than others. See what we got next. If you got over 1,000 keywords, what's the best way to content map them? I heard Keyword Cupid is good, but I personally don't like it. You could do it the old-fashioned way. You could go figure out. You could use a tool like Ahrefs or whatever and look things up in there and see what pages are ranking for, and just do it like that. Do you have any automated way of doing this, Nick?
Well, I mean, you can take large sets of data from Ahrefs or something comparable, get Excel files, then filter it down, figure out what's, most valuable to you based on traffic and keyword difficulty, etc. Which typically I'll kind of start out doing things that way just to get an overview of where, what sources I can get the most traffic for in the SERPs. But ultimately, once I've got that list of a large portion of keywords that I'm interested in going after for a particular money site, then I'm manually going to do some extra research every month based on the content budget I have. So that day that I'm about to order content, I'm going to go in for that particular asset, and then I'm going to comb through the information that I have on data that I've gathered, and I'm going to manually look at what I'm most interested in going after. Because, from a automation standpoint, sure, that's great. You can comb a ton of data really quickly, but a lot of times you're going to be missing out on some nuances for particular SERPs, like access, how easy it'll be to rank there, unless you manually go in there and actually look at what's going on. And in my opinion, it's really not that much extra time to go in and manually do that way. And this could include manually combing the SERPs, maybe using something like Surfer to look for keyword overlap or keyword cannibalization
Or
issues that might arise,
Ahrefs.
etc. Yeah, yeah, Ahrefs too. But the point being that I'm going to manually spend quite a bit of time, because
Yeah,
to me, keyword research and making sure that you've got things
super
done
important.
properly. I mean, that's your foundation.
Yeah,
It's going to make everything easier in the long run. And then you'll go back to your master list after you've ordered that content. You're going to say, okay, this is done, this is done, this is done. And then everything I found that kind of goes under the same umbrella, delete that out as well. Boom, you've still got your list for next month, and you keep on rolling, right? So yeah, that's the way I like to do things. It's very automated in the sense that you start with big groups of data, but then you're spending a little bit of time each month, or maybe sometimes 2 times a month, combing through those things to ensure that you're just getting the best for your
definitely
foundation.
not as automated as something like Keyword Cupid, though, which I think is what he's probably really looking for. And so maybe you don't
Yeah.
like our answer, but I actually, I still do things uh, pretty manually as well. I like Nick was saying, I really like to get these things right, and I find the way that I am normally doing keyword research is I usually don't get these like huge balls of keywords where it's just like thousands of keywords that don't belong together. I normally am like targeting things on like a page by page level. Like, hey, I want to target this page now, so here's the keywords for that, rather than starting with this like huge massive thing of keywords and then trying to separate them all out in that kind of way, if that makes sense.
Mm.
I mean, do you ever do that? Do you ever just end up? I'm pretty sure what they're doing is they're like scraping like the people also ask stuff, and they're just trying to get all those people also ask questions into the right things. Otherwise, I don't really understand how you would just end up with a big ball of keywords that's completely unorganized, right? Or maybe they're just scraping people also asked, or like answer the public, or yeah, answer the public. I don't remember exactly how that one works, but or like the one where if you just type in your keyword and then like a space or the space and like the letter A and see what it all comes up, and then you just like gather, and then you go to B and C and D, you know what I'm talking about? And just gather all those
Mhm.
keywords together. Um, that's just,
I'm not sure. I mean, for gathering a big ball of data, like typically it's just going to be Ahrefs that I'm going to be using.
no, but
And so I know,
do you ever, when you're doing keyword research for a project, do you ever do it this way where you amass a huge ball of data, a huge mass of keywords that aren't organized in any way, and then you're filtering it all out?
yeah,
Or do you normally?
yeah, that's what I do yeah, that's what I was saying I do at the very beginning. So it'd typically be with Ahrefs,
Mm-hmm,
where I'm doing keyword research from there. I've decided this is the money site I'm building. It's
mm-hmm,
about specific niche. Then what I'm trying to conceptualize is, and this is often by going through competitors, which categories do I want under that umbrella, right? So I've
mm-hmm.
got the master topic, I've got my categories, and then doing keyword research in Ahrefs is very simple. You're going to start by looking up all these categories. You're going to filter, a lot of times it's traffic, mainly it's traffic, and you're going to look at all the keywords that fall under those umbrellas as well. And you're just going to keep downloading all of those files and putting them in a large, large sheet. Um, And then from that, you can start to kind of pick and choose, where to go from there as far as really fleshing out all those topical maps. But that would be the only time that I'm doing that really is at the very beginning or hypothetical, if I was to run out, which, a lot of times we're talking about like 20,000 plus keywords, right? Not all of them are valuable, but then at least you've got the sortability to find things because oftentimes too, I'm probably working in niches that I'm not extremely well versed in. So there might be some terminology that has to do with a specific category that I'm like, I don't even know what the hell that is, but it's worth, X amount of traffic and, there's low competition. So it's obviously very
No,
valuable.
you're right. I guess I'm getting at something a little bit different. Whereas like, so, you do this keyword research and you do kind of have this mass and then you start kind of separate it into the categories, like you're saying, the categories, which ones are the parents, basically what the site structure is going to look like, right? But what I don't do is really worry about all these like smaller keywords that'll be a part of like a single page or whatever. And I would get those,
Oh,
I
sure.
basically just get like kind of like the bigger traffic ones or whatever, or not even the bigger traffic ones. I just try to flesh out the categories, and then the smaller keywords that'll be like a part of each of these individual pages. I just kind of get those when I'm using Ahrefs or using Surfer or whatever, rather than trying to like manually organize like every single tiny little keyword, right? You know what I'm saying?
No. Yeah, completely. And yeah, that would be an immense
Yeah.
a waste of time, in my opinion. I mean, I'm saying that, but then there's some, SEOs that do things differently, that like the minute details, etc. Again, multiple ways to kind of skin the cat. But when I think about it, right, over the years, I've ordered or written tons of content. What are you doing, or what is the writer doing typically? They're going and looking at other articles that are ranking, and they're kind of seeing what the structure is there and rewording things that, hit certain topics. So if you're talking about going after this like master keyword, oftentimes a lot of the PAA and stuff like that are automatically going to be written about within the content. Now, there's ways to make that more, I wouldn't call it efficient, but more effective in the sense that you could get more of those positions if you're really being hard lined in the details and you're really combing through things manually like Chris was talking about. But at that point in time, you've got to pick and choose. What kind of SEO are you? Are you somebody that's going after a large amount of data and you're trying to put out as much content to go after this wide blanket? Or are you somebody that's trying to be more, like a lot more specific? You aren't after the conglomerate structure of like some super authority website, and you're trying to really just put out all the best content that's going to create the umbrella for a specific topic. Where this would vary is, for me, if I'm building a huge affiliate website, then I want to be a authority on that subject matter. But if you're more niche down, maybe you do e-com and you make this specific kind of product, right? Then it can be worthwhile to take your time and really comb through that specific product and everything in the umbrella around it, right? To solidify that you're the authority on that. So it's two way different viewpoints trying to go after the same thing, which is SERPs, right? But one's more of kind of a local oriented kind of mindset versus a conglomerate, just, feed me traffic and it's going to funnel into money in some way, shape, or form, which is, primarily what I'm after.
All right, let's go ahead and move on. Like, comment, subscribe. Join us in the Facebook group, SEO Roundtable, and there every single day. Thank you very much.
Come on now.
All right. Let's say I want to write an article about how to find a good plumber, and it has 10 searches. If I use how to find a good plumber in Dallas, will it be helpful, or using the original one is right? So basically, you want to follow the keyword volume. You want to follow the search volume, right? Like, I don't think anyone is searching for how to find a good plumber in Dallas, because how you find a good plumber in Dallas is going to be the same as how you find a good plumber in Houston or how you find a good plumber in Austin. It's all going to be exactly the same. But what you could do if you want to double check it is search for that keyword. If you search for how to find a good plumber in Dallas, I bet what you're going to find is a bunch of pages that are like, here are the best plumbers in Dallas, 25 best Dallas plumbers, and articles like that. rather than an article
Yeah.
saying this is how you find a good Dallas plumber. But then if you search for the keyword how to find a good plumber, I think those articles are going to be very different. It's not going to be like, here are the best plumbers.
Yeah.
It's going to be like, this is the things you look for when you're finding a good plumber.
Yeah.
So, whenever you're in doubt,
Which,
just search on Google and see what kind of articles are popping up. But basically, you just want to follow the search volume. I think the search volume for how to find a good plumber in Dallas is going to be 0. And that's not saying that 0 search volume keywords are bad, but if it's a 0 search volume keyword and the articles that are coming up for it are not answering that question, it's just like, here are the best plumbers, then it's probably not a page I would build. I would just build the how to find a good plumber article. What were you about to say, Nick?
um, oh, that it would be worthwhile though, if you do find something that's an informational article that people maybe do look up, right? So how to find a good plumber, but you're trying to rank for Dallas. Well, that's still great supporting content,
Yeah,
right? But
that's
don't get it
true.
confused that that's going to, you're doing that more for the traffic value and for the niche relevance.
Topical authority.
So yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, when in doubt, just look on Google, right? Just see what Google's returning for those things, and just look at search volumes and stuff like that. And you'll find pretty easily which one you want to go after, or if you want to go after either one, both of them, if they could actually make good
Hmm.
separate articles or not. Um, So it means Silo should be built to help the user by answering all the questions he might have related to a topic that I cover on my website, regardless of what a keyword has any searches or not. So it means Silo should be built to help the user by answering all the questions he might have related to a topic that I cover on my website, regardless if the keyword has searches or not. Yeah, so when you're building silos, um, some of the questions people might have about stuff are going to have very low search volume, or Google might even show it as 0 search volume, and
Yeah.
you could still absolutely build those into pages. But what you want to do, you definitely want to make sure that they deserve their own standalone page, right? And you can double check that by looking on Google. You can just look on Google, type in the keyword, see if it pops up for its own standalone page, or if it really makes sense to be part of a different, a small part of a larger article type situation. Um, but yeah, it doesn't matter if it has search volume or not. Some stuff that has 0 search volume ends up actually having a lot more search volume than that. So they can
Yeah.
definitely be worthwhile to go to. You just want to be careful with like cannibalization and if it should be its own standalone article or if it should be a part of a bigger article. And yeah, and then, as far as the siloing goes, when you're linking all these things together, we like to link to just basically what makes sense for the user. And it ends up being a lot of times stuff that's related to that topic, right? Because that's like you're writing an article about plumbing. It might be, I mean, it's not impossible, but it'd be very natural to link out to other things about plumbing, like just different little questions about plumbing from that page, rather than linking to your other page about, I don't know, roof repair or something. Maybe the company does more stuff. I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but it generally just wouldn't make as much sense. It'd be kind of really stretching the article, right? You'd have to add something kind of weird in. If you're looking for roof repair, we also do that. Here, check this page out.
Yeah.
Which you could do. I mean, it
Yeah.
wouldn't be the end of the world, but in general, people are going to be like, okay, like, just it's not really super duper helpful to the user, is it? Like they're probably not going to click that link. And if there's like a 0 chance of them clicking the link, then including it in the page probably isn't the best idea. But we're not super duper strict about this stuff. It wouldn't be the end of the world if you did something that was kind of unrelated, as long as you could kind of make it
I'd
make
I'd
sense
be
in the article.
lying. I'd be lying if I said I don't do
Yeah,
that every
yeah,
once in a while or something like
I
that.
would be too.
Sometimes I'm
We're
like,
not strict.
this page only has like
I
two
gotta
inner links
squeeze in a
going
link
to
to
it. Let
it.
me shove something in there. No, but
Yeah, I do it
Chris is
too.
saying the
I do
best
it too.
practice, and it's absolutely
No, I
true.
do it too. I say it's not the end of the world. It's not the best, but it's definitely not the end of the world. It's definitely okay to do it. And if the page doesn't have any links and you just don't have any way else to get it some links, then sure.
Yeah.
Just try to make it as relevant as possible, right? Contextually. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, hopefully that helps. Um, see what else we got here. And we are coming up on our time limit, guys. We've got a few questions left. If you have any more questions, go ahead and get them in there now and we'll get to you. Also, like, comment, subscribe, join us on Facebook group, SEO Roundtable. Thank you.
You sound like a flight attendant just now. I'm like, I haven't been on a plane in a while, but then I heard that and I'm like, oh, I still feel jet lagged from that trip.
Just squeezing it in there.
That's
yeah, I hate
fine.
jet lag.
Yeah. I like that. Thank you, though. You need to keep doing that. Thank you.
All right. Website is 3 months old. It's a low competition keyword, and it went from 50th to 15th position, but it got stuck around 15 to 16 position for 2 to 3 weeks now. One lead gen site is ranking location page. How can I go up? We can't really. We really have to like look at stuff. We can't really answer that for you, man. But you know, jumping from 50 to 15. So now you're basically jumping from 50 to 15. 50 before was like, Google's like, his website's about this thing. We know it's about this thing when it's at 50. Now, when you're up to 15, Google's like, his website's about this. And now you're in the competition to, Google's saying like, you're a contender for one of the best pages, right? Once you get to like, you know, page 2 or like halfway up page 2 or the top of page 2, it's like when you're really like starting the actual competition, right? Before that, it's like Google's just trying to understand like what the page is about or whatever. But yeah, so now you're basically in the running, right? Now you're like really in the competition. And so 2 to 3 weeks at 15 doesn't really mean anything. I mean, did you do anything else? Did you build more links? Did you add more supporting content? I mean, you could be at that position a lot longer than 2 to 3 weeks, and it could be completely normal depending on what exactly you're doing to try to push it further. But in general, you know, when you're trying to rank up further, you know, time is a big factor here. Depending on the keyword, I mean, it's low. You said it's low competition, but depending on the keyword, it could just take some time for Google to decide to move you onto page 1 or whatever. But in general, you know, what you're looking at when you're trying to rank up is backlinks. You know, backlinks to your homepage as well as to the page you're trying to rank. You know, you can do stuff like you can make your content better if you think it can be improved. You know, take a look at the top ranking pages and look at those and just make sure your content is in line with that. So a good length that has all the keywords in it that it needs to have in it, that kind of stuff. Make sure that your interlinking is on point. You know, make sure it's being linked to from the other articles on your website or even from your silo for that topic, which we've been talking a lot about today. Make sure that you have enough supporting content about the subject. It's like other articles on your website that are, you know, kind of related to the same thing that are also linking to that page contextually. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do. But in general, you know, a lot of the times once you get, you know, if everything is optimized correctly, which I don't know if yours is optimized correctly, but if your on page is good, your content is good, if everything is good, and if you're like right in line with the other pages that are ranking, then usually what it comes down to is links at that point. Especially for a low competition keyword, right? You know, these other websites might just have a lot more authority than you. Go look at those websites that are ranking at the top, compare them to your own. What's their DR compared to yours? How many referring domains do they have on their website as a whole and to that individual page compared to yours? You can even look up and see how much supporting content they have, like how many other articles on their website do they have that's kind of related to the same thing that are linking to it contextually. So you can look at all those things, but a lot of times it really just comes down to authority, right? Just because a keyword is low competition, you know, if you got a big authority site and you write an article to target that low competition keyword, and even with 0 links to that article, you know, because you have this huge authority site with a lot of the links to the homepage and to all your other pages, you're just gonna like auto rank for it, and you know, good luck to the smaller guy because it's just not going to happen, right? They're not going to beat you out if they're actually seriously targeting that keyword with the page. Then you're just going to come down to links and authority at that point. You got anything to add on that, Nick?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, like Chris said, you know, 3 months is not a long time, even if it's a local site and you're going after low competition keywords,
3 months
right?
is actually a short time.
Incredibly short. So, you know, a lot of people call it the sandbox phase. I don't necessarily like to call it that, probably because I just, when I first started in SEO, I kept considering that and kept, with my business partner at the time, we kept thinking that we screwed something up and
You
Google was
probably
just
did.
going to keep us in this purgatory sandbox phase forever, and then we'd start making mistakes based on what we thought we made mistakes on. And so, that's a whole game set, right? Like, it's confusing the newer, less seasoned SEO. And so what I think is important, especially for newer SEOs, and what I like to stress a lot, or what we like to stress a lot here, is keep building. Your objective shouldn't just be, I've got this keyword, it's going to be worth some money, and it's very low competition, so I'm going to get in there, boom, I'm set. Don't think like that. Think starting off with, I'm building a business, right? Even if it's just online, I'm building a business.
You're so
I need to
small.
flesh it out. And you, oh my
Go
gosh.
ahead.
And you do that by continually fleshing out, your topical relevance about these things. So, this article is going to go up going after that low competition keyword, but keep that going, keep building, keep adding links month to month, right? This needs to be an ongoing campaign. That's going to help Google build some trust in you a lot quicker. And then typically those small keywords that you start to see popping up initially are going to be those low competition keywords that you wrote about maybe 6-7 months ago, depending on what you're doing and what the competition is, not only for that specific keyword, but for the umbrella of the niche that keyword falls under as well, right? Because like Chris said, if there's an authority site that's got everything fleshed out under that umbrella, it's typically going to beat you out even without links. So your intention should be to flesh out the content and the backlinks to that asset over a prolonged period of time. And typically when I'm talking to a newer SEO, like if they want a timeline, I'd say keep doing that, keep what you're doing, because you've already done real well getting from position 50 to page 2 to 3 for this topic. Keep fleshing it out and expect, it might take 6 months before things actually start resonating positively in Google and you start getting page 1 rankings. But once you do get that, it's typically a lot easier to get into that flow and watch these things rank a lot quicker.
Yeah, we'll
So
just
yeah, you're doing well, I would
yeah,
say.
exactly. We'll just end this question with a something positive. Is your website's only 3 months old and you're knocking
Hmm.
on the door of page 1. You're position 15 for a
Yeah.
keyword. That's really good. So you're doing something right. A lot of websites at 3 months old, Google's just they're still not ranking for any keywords. There's nothing on Ahrefs and whatnot. So you're doing something right. Keep at it. There's a bunch of different angles you can approach this by. So look at your competitors, see what they got going on. That's definitely where I would start. But yeah, 3 months old, you're in position 15 for a keyword. You're doing good. Good stuff. All right. Try to answer these questions.
Probably like one more. Oh yeah, somebody asked a question on Facebook as well.
Got a few more. What do you guys think of page speed
There it is.
insights? Can it really improve rankings? So page speed insights is great. It's Google telling you exactly how what's going on with your page speed stuff. So definitely it's something we like to use. But about page speed, a lot of people are absolutely insane about page speed. I think that's completely misguided. I think they're wasting a ton of time trying to get their page speed like really, really good. As far as page speed goes, as far as we understand it, it's a minor ranking signal. It's more of a ranking signal for mobile. But generally, if you can just get your page speed to like not be horrible, then you're normally fine. We normally just like slap a plugin on and then slap on like a CDN, right? Like literally, like just do like WP Rocket or whatever, configure the settings or just use the automatic settings and then like throw it on a CDN and your site's like super duper fast for the most part, right? Hey Nick, you're big again.
Hey.
But yeah, page speed insights definitely useful. Yeah, it's a great tool, and page speed can improve your rankings if it's like if your speed is like horrible. But if it's pretty good, then I don't think you're really going to see much of a boost by improving things. But yeah, get a plugin, throw it on a CDN. Definitely helps a ton. We don't really do too much more than that. Got anything else on this one, Nick?
I mean, I've gone down the rabbit hole of messing with page speed, and early on, it was actually one of the first businesses I created was a
I
page
remember.
speed optimization on Fiverr, and it was a clusterfuck because every website operates differently. Like every theme, everything, you break all sorts of stuff as you're messing with page speed. What I came to believe, and what I still do believe, is that page speed isn't really much of something I consider in aspects to ranking. So long as you're not timing out and it's not atrociously slow load times, then my main affiliate site has a C in GT metrics, and it's been like that for forever, and it has no
But
issues.
it's not an F.
What I'm Yeah, it's not an F. Now,
That's
mind
the
you,
thing.
it'd be kind of fun
You
to
can be a
see
C
how
student.
many sites rank with an F, or if there are any. But I think what's important to think about this is it's more of a user experience issue, right? If your site's tremendously slow, even if it's ranking, people are going to, to jump ship really
Which can then
quick.
affect your
Nobody wants to
which
wait.
can then affect your Google rankings if you have like a high bounce and they go and
Sure.
click on another site instead.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, generally if
Yeah.
it's not horrible, you're fine.
Yeah, yeah. So, as far as like, because I remember when I first started doing it, as far as getting a perfect score in page speed and GT metrics, which
No,
was always my intention, just don't do that.
don't do
Get it
it.
as quick as possible without breaking as much stuff as possible, and then move on from there.
Yeah, it's like congrats. You spent like, a week trying to
Yeah,
get your page speed right. Like, okay, so I like did keyword research and got articles optimized for like, 20 articles or whatever that are going to bring in like, thousands of dollars of revenue over the past year. Well, yours is going to like do essentially nothing. Such a
yeah.
bad use of time for such a minor signal. So get it good. But yeah, PageSpeed Insight's definitely good. All right. What do you think about KD, keyword difficulty, and Ahrefs? Is it possible to get page one for keyword difficulty 80 plus keyword for a small, low DR website? So keyword difficult, like all metrics, Ahrefs keyword difficulty is not something that I really pay a lot of attention to. But when I'm doing keyword research and then I see the keyword difficulty and it's all the green numbers, I'm like, ooh, I do look at it and I do use it. But what I do is I instantly go look into it further with my own eyes rather than just looking at that score. I instantly scroll down to the bottom or whatever. I look at the websites. I see what their DRs are, and I see how many referring domains they have, and I see what kind of websites they are. Are they more general websites? Are they more niche down websites? And so I'm basically just looking for openings here. And is there anything on page one that has a low DR? So basically, am I going to be able to sneak in if I have a low authority site? So I want, keyword difficulty on the Ahrefs, do look at it, but it's basically just the starting point, So if I look at it and it says everything, it's a keyword difficulty 80 plus keyword, I'm instantly going to be like, okay, it's probably actually going to be hard, but look into it. Go look at the sites, like I was just saying, on page one. Is there any website on page one that has a DR that's similar to your website? And then also, are all of these websites, are they, what kind of websites are they? Are they more niche down, or are they these bigger, more general sites? And then when you start getting to that, if there's nothing on page one, like if everything on page one are these like bigger authority sites and they're not like super niche down, then, it basically might say that it's going to be hard for you with a smaller niche down site. But if then there's a more niche down site on there with like a lower authority, then you can say, hey, I can actually, might have an angle here to rank for this keyword. But in general, go back to your question, ranking for an keyword difficulty 80 plus keyword on a small, low DR website, I would say it's probably not a good idea, man.
Yeah, it's probably not going to happen, honestly.
Yeah, it's probably not going to
Because you
happen.
have to imagine, KD of 80 is showing high competition, typically with authority sites
Yeah.
showing up for that particular SERP, right? So we're talking about authority sites versus something where yeah, maybe you could be niche down, and maybe there are a couple positions within that SERP for that. But then you're kind of playing a different game, you know.
But yeah,
I'm guessing that
even then you still want that,
what?
you still want it to be niche down, and you want the sites that are on page one, you want to see one that's niche down and like low authority. And then you could be like, I
Hmm.
have a shot, you know. But if you don't see that, then it's like, eh.
Yeah. And then, typically too, if you're starting with a small low DR website and you're expecting to try and get into the competition like that, my guess is you probably have a newer site and you're looking, to make the buck real quick,
Yeah,
which is just not the way to look
start
at it.
small.
Now, when I conceptualize what my target's going to be about for the money site, then a lot of times, maybe within the categories, I will create hub pages that are intended to go after KD 80 because my intention will be to build out an authority site over time.
To eventually
So
rank
let's
for it.
imagine this, right? Sure. Let's talk about fishing poles because I just went fishing. Maybe I start off with a topical map, best fishing poles, which would be a hub page where you could have different types of fishing poles, spinning reel, open face, whatever, deep sea, yada, yada, right? And so you can start by kind of creating these hub pages that would eventually be designed to go after these high competition terms as you grow. And under these umbrellas, you would have lower competition keywords that you're like essentially linking out to, et cetera. And then you're fleshing out the content over time. So it's a way to do it, but no, you can't expect that you're just going to get there overnight with a small website. It's going to be with the intention that, you're growing out the authority over time. So yeah, best practice, if you're trying to keep things small with your website, and trying to optimize efficiency for that particular money site and getting in the SERPs, then nix KD 80 out of your idea. Start looking for much lower KD. And then, like Chris said, manually comb those keywords to see what kind of access is actually in those SERPs. Because what you'll come to find is, KD 20 and under, or, maybe even a bit lower than that, is going to show you that there are positions available within those SERPs if you manually comb them.
Yeah, you could still write the article. Maybe it's a good article to have on your site. Like maybe you could have these lower competition keywords that you rank for, and then you link to that one article contextually, right, to try to get the users on that. So they won't land on the page from Google because you're probably not going to rank for a keyword difficult 80 site on a on a
Right.
smaller low DR website. Um, but you could still try to funnel them there from your other articles, right? And like Nick was saying, you're you're in this for the long haul. So you could go ahead and you could write that article for the keyword difficulty 80 plus keyword. You could write that article and you could have it there. Just don't expect it to rank anytime soon, right? But you'll slowly start building authority to your site, start building up links and stuff, and then over time it's going to start moving up and up and up. And especially for these really difficult keywords, it's good. It is good to have the article there for a long time because Google just seems to for the really competitive stuff. Google seems to like articles that have actually been there for quite some time, rather than letting just some new article on some new authority website just come up and move up the rankings real fast. They liked it to have kind of just like aged for a while for some stuff.
Yeah, and remember you can do stuff in stages as well, right? Like so if you've got the permalink set up with some info on there, but you didn't really flesh out the article because it's high competition. Maybe as you flesh out the website, you start seeing that the article starts popping up in the SERPs like top 100 or something. Okay, well, that's a good opportunity to add, X amount of content, maybe using something like Surfer so you can actually get, an idea of how long it needs to be, how many keywords need to be used, etc. But you can, kind of go after the low competition stuff, build up the authority on that particular niche from the ground up, and then add content to these more competitive sections so that you're optimizing budget for the stuff that's going to get you money quicker.
All right, looks like we got a couple more, and we're going to call it here. So the questions that are here, we'll answer those, and those are going to be the last ones we answer. If I rank a local website on the first position of Google, do you think I can get a VA or a full-time job much easier? And what are some ways to get hired after you have a case study? I mean, you just need to apply for jobs, right? Build out your resume.
Well,
So you having experience definitely helps with that. So I would just make like a good resume, and your case study could if you have a case study, you could include that on your resume somehow. And yeah, maybe you can have more than one case study, or you could just. I think it's a little bit different when you're applying for a job like that. It's more about like building out the resume and being able to communicate about it, rather than like really like building out like a really good case study. Really, I mean, it's good to have like a proof of that you've like done stuff or whatever, but I don't think it's like super necessary to have like a super case study for getting hired for a job. But I've actually never tried to get hired for an SEO job. Like with a resume, like being part of like an SEO team or whatever, anything like that. What do you think, Nick?
well, I mean, just like any job, proof of concept is going to show that you know
Yeah.
what you're doing, that you're capable of executing on the job, and especially something like SEO, where there's countless people saying they do SEO or that they can do SEO,
Hmm.
that, for lack of a better way to put it, are full of shit. So to me, having a case study and a good resume, even if that's on something like Upwork, where you're just trying to get
Yeah.
your own clients, proof of concept is going to show them, hey, here's what I can do. I have proof of it. I can show you that I can do it. And the more data you have on that, the more secure somebody's going to feel, especially if they don't understand, quite honestly, how SEO is even done, which a lot of the like local or corporate clients that you might get really don't have an understanding of, what actually works for SEO. So being able to show them that on
Yeah.
a platter, to me, is going to make you a cut above the rest, right?
I wonder if they
So
would
yeah,
actually
like,
look at case studies like when they're hiring.
well, I mean, I'm not even just looking at it from that perspective, because to me, if you've already ranked a website, then you can just be in business for yourself. Jump on Upwork, put all your information out there, get some reviews, etc., and keep building out. This is who I am, or start a website
Well,
where you're showcasing exactly what
he
you're
sounds like he
capable of
wants to get
doing, right?
hired though.
Well,
So
get a
this question,
VA or a full-time job, right? So,
yeah, it's like being
make
hired by
money,
someone to
right?
do SEO.
But also, if I've got a stack of resumes on my desk and I'm, the uh, HR department or whatever, then if I see somebody out of this stack of papers that's just saying, "Oh, I did SEO, and then
Yeah, that's
here's
true.
5 bullet points about what I did," but then it's like, "Hey, I also have this case study you're welcome to look at," and I go there and it's filled with graphs and data and somebody who really understands what they're talking about that I can follow and get just a better feel for that person, then I'm more likely going to hire that
For
person.
sure. Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I might not read the full case study, but if I was like hiring and then they're like, hey,
yeah,
look, I got a case study, I might click on it and be like, oh, this actually looks like a nice little case study here. Um, but yeah, I think it's just it's like a job like anything else. Being able to flesh out a nice resume that highlights your experience, and you know, having that experience, you actually get better at communicating, like the skills that you have, the experience that you have. It's kind of a little bit harder to BS it, I guess. And then, yeah, you could definitely include the case study on there, but a lot of it is just going to be, kind of a grind at that point, right? You're applying to jobs, you're talking to people, you're trying to get hired. I don't really know how much advice I can give on that. That's not in a million other places. It's just kind of a numbers game at that point, right? Throwing your hat in the ring and doing your best to demonstrate to these people why you're a good fit for the job.
something I guess. Let me see the question real quick. And what are some ways to get hired? Even without the case study, some ways to get hired, right? You can go look for employment with a company that needs an SEO, or like I was saying earlier, start something on Fiverr, start something on Upwork, and kind of grind from there. Get in Facebook groups for small businesses, grind in there. When I got started in SEO, it was a very difficult grind. I educated myself on all sorts of different things. I blew out my education in way too many different places. And then I ended up selling PBNs, basically in group to group, for a few bucks a pop. And I rolled from there. And then I tried a Fiverr gig, like I was saying, page speed optimization. I never jumped to Upwork, but I think that's a logical place to look, or places like that are logical to look. And then, of course, LinkedIn. There are recruiters all over the place on LinkedIn looking for people who have proof of concept for something. So if you're on LinkedIn and you're really fleshing out, here's the project I worked on, here's the data I have to prove that I did this, you're going to be a cut above the rest, right? And so if a recruiter falls on your profile, they're more likely to want to talk to you about, your capabilities. But yeah, as an SEO and as an SEO that knows what they're doing, you've got a lot of opportunity to go get work, right? Whether that's with actual employment of like a corporation, or just picking up local clients, or building, your own affiliate websites.
All right. Let's see what we got next. We got two more. Thanks for answering all my questions and congratulations for 1,000 subscribers.
We got 1,000 subscribers?
Yeah, I saw it actually the other day.
Oh my
And he says this
gosh,
live
dude.
session is not
That's
less than $100
great.
an hour SEO consultation. Glad you appreciate it, man. We do give out a lot of
Thank
info
you.
here. Yeah, and it makes us happy to be able to help out in the community and whatnot. And yeah, 1,000
For
subscribers. It's
sure.
definitely, it's not a super ton or anything, but we're actually not even really trying to grow our YouTube channel, and the way we're doing things, things aren't really
Yeah.
optimized for YouTube growth. It's actually just kind of something we do for our Facebook group, and we go live on YouTube as well and put the videos there afterwards, just because we might as well if we already have the videos. But yeah, $1,000 or 1,000 subscribers, definitely a milestone, Nick.
Yeah, well, I think now we can monetize YouTube for a whole, well,
Oh,
we cuss every once in a while, which I know that
are
kind
we
of
about to
voids your ability to
change? Are we
do
about
it.
to be sellouts?
Yeah. Whoa. I highly doubt it with 1,000 subscribers,
I would hate
but
to be a YouTuber.
it's something we've been looking
I
forward
would hate
to
to be
for a
a
long time.
YouTuber
Just
so
kidding. That.
much. Seriously, like
Yeah.
making
Well,
videos is hard work. Like I'm not
it
built
is.
for it.
Yeah.
Like the live stuff is fine because, we're basically just answering
Hmm.
questions out of a chat and talking about it or stuff. But like when you actually try to sit down and make like serious videos, like well-planned videos that are going to do well on YouTube, like keep engagement so they really get recommended a bunch and stuff, and like, all the editing, all the it's a ton, it's so much work. And doing like the takes, and you have to do like multiple takes to because I'm not like a super good speaker and stuff. Oh my God. But 1,000 subscribers, I'm pretty happy about that. It's definitely kind of slowly chugging away. Our um, our daily views or whatever have probably grown about probably like 5 or 6 times in the past year and a half or so. So it's definitely, consistency is kind of just paying off a bit, and
Yeah.
glad that you guys are getting some value out of it.
Yeah, and like Chris said, we're really not promoting this all that much, unless you happen to fall into mainly SEO Roundtable, or if you're looking for SEO videos and happen to find one of ours in their search. So, if you really do like the show, likes, comments, and subscribes really go a long way, and so does telling your friends and family or whoever else that's interested in getting into SEO about us, having them come in here, ask questions, etc.
Yeah, if you ever have the
Yeah,
opportunity
brings
to like
huge
share
value.
the channel, like in whatever other kind of groups or forums or whatever you're a part of, if you ever think someone, don't go spam our channel around, but if someone's ever asking about it or you could recommend us there, then definitely helps us about a lot. I saw I think I remember who it was, but I saw someone plugged our group in another group. We're gonna have to give this guy probably a member of the month again in the
Member of the
Facebook
month,
group, because I
yeah.
saw that they plugged us in some other group, and then we got like just a bunch of group
Movement,
joins overnight or the next few days after they
yeah.
did that. But yeah, we definitely appreciate it. If you like it, let other people know. And then very last question here. Can I start building links without getting organic visitors? Absolutely. I don't think I've ever really been getting organic. I mean, I think I always build links before I've got any organic visitors. I don't think I've ever waited.
Yeah.
Have you?
100% certain I've never waited. No, I'm automatic. Oh, guns blazing.
Hell
Here's my
yeah.
content plan. Here's my backlink
Yeah,
plan.
we build links
Go.
to get those organic visitors. We don't wait to get organic visitors to start building links. But yeah, we
Eh,
go if you type in our channel, if you search for like new website, or if you just search on YouTube like Sir Links a Lot new website, we've got a little a basic roadmap for building backlinks to new websites, how to do it safely, and just how to get things started basically without going overboard or doing anything crazy. It basically just involves a lot of pillow links and a lot of if you're doing like guest posts or niche chat, it's just linking very naturally to your homepage with natural anchors like branded anchors, URL anchors, generic anchors. But if you go pull up that video, it'll tell you a lot more. It's kind of just walk you through the whole process. But absolutely, like we said, we always build links before we get any organic visitors. The sooner you start building links, the better. Really, it's a time-consuming process. It takes a long time to build authority, and just the sooner you get started on it, the sooner the basically the ball starts rolling, right? And yeah, the sooner the better.
Yeah, I mean, I think something that would help, especially, if you're asking this question, you're probably wondering, well, how does that look natural? But you have to remember, there's a lot of businesses that operate maybe, in the real world that don't even have a website yet. And then when they do have a website, there is some press that's going to follow along. You are going to get backlinks. Oh, so and so, they started a website, but they've been in business X amount of years, and so let's link to them, etc. These things can happen
Or
naturally, or
there,
maybe they've run commercials, etc. Right? So they've had press going, and Google can't, quantify this to a complete certainty. So that means that they also can't say it's unnatural for you to get backlinks as soon as your
yeah.
website's been built and starts running,
Yeah, because
right?
you
So
could
you're
go
safe there
create a
from that
blog. You
concept.
could create a blog today, write an article. Your blog could be literally 1 day old, and then you could go out and you can start reaching out to websites and that have linked to similar blog articles and be like, well, look at my blog article. Look how good this thing is. Like, your readers would love it if you directed them here or whatever. So, they're basically just doing content marketing at that point, basically doing outreach for the new article they wrote. And that's 100% fine to do. And people do it all the time. So yeah, you definitely don't need to wait for any organic visitors. It's not something like that. And Nick, you are very tiny again. You keep getting like smaller and smaller. You're like tiny. It's like
Hello
half your face. But all right, guys, I think that's it for today. Looks like we've answered all the questions up there. I'm glad you've got some value out of it. Thank you for helping us get to 1,000 subscribers. It's definitely a cool milestone. It's kind of cool watching it grow. And yeah, we really appreciate it, and glad that we've been able to help you guys out as well. Like always, like, comment, subscribe. Join us in the Facebook group SEO Roundtable. We're in there every single day. Go check out our website. We got a bunch of articles on there, as well as our YouTube channel. The YouTube channel's got so many videos on it now. You can basically just search for anything plus like Sir Links a Lot and just find a bunch of cool stuff. But yeah, thanks guys. We'll see you next week, same time, same place, hopefully 12 p.m. Central Standard Time on Wednesday. All right. See you later.
Wait.
That's all you got, Nick?